Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's 5:45 a.m. April 1st. This is not an April Fool's joke, folks. We're going to do an awesome Bitcoin analysis. We'll also look at the macro markets today, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly what my thoughts are on the market. And on top of that, I'm going to show you guys some great stuff that we've been doing in our community. Again, if you're not aware of our Discord community right here at the Advantage side, here are all the locked channels right here that you get with your Advantage membership. These are the spot buy positions that we let people know exactly what we're picking up in the crypto market. Here are the leverage trade positions. Currently, we are actually in a short position right now, okay? We've been short, I think for the last day or two. Basically, I think even if you watched my video yesterday, you would have known that in this green candle right here, I didn't see this anything other than an opportunity to short. And that's exactly what we did on the Advantage side. So I'm averaged in at 64.70 on my short position. And we're about, down $170 or so. So sitting in pretty decent profit right now. Okay. So based on the smaller time frame, and then we'll go to the larger, exactly what's going on. All right. So first things first, as you very well know, over the last several days, we've been really chopping around in this market, right? It's really just been, a hard direction to find out what's going on. So we went up here to 69.50 or so, came down to $5,700, went back up to about 69.75 or so, chopped around here for like 3 days, dropped again to 58.65, and then popped back up to 6,600 again just 2 days ago, okay? In this particular movement, we actually shorted from here, took profit here as well as here, okay? So we took half position profit, quarter right there, and another quarter right there. And the other half, we left it a stop at break even in this area. And we actually got stopped out at break even, okay? And that's actually visible via the screenshots right here, as you can see. Let me see here. So here's the first quarter profit that we took. So we entered right up here around 66.25 or so. Took profit 62.35. Second area that we took profit was right there around 58.75 or so, 58.62. So again, for the most part, I try to let people know exactly where I'm getting out at. I try to do an everyone tag, in the Discord community, so they know exactly when I'm trying to get out, because sometimes the markets are really fast, right? And sometimes I actually just let people know beforehand what my strategy is. So you could see right here, before I even entered the position, I explained my game plan pretty clearly to the Advantage community members. Number one, I explained where I'm entering. Number two, I explained where my stop is. And number three, I explained where my target profits are, okay? On top of that, I obviously provide reasoning, whether it's technicals reasoning, some other external factor, news reasoning that I may have. And sometimes I also mention more detailed analysis in the Bitcoin analysis channel right here, where I'll let people know exactly what my thoughts are. And as I've said before, I make these evening Zoom videos, live session videos where people can ask questions through the Advantage side. It's only for the paid members. And so this is where you get your questions answered for the end of the day, daily closing. Yesterday we had a quarterly closing as well as a monthly closing. So that was kind of important to understand and unpack. And so I did that in the Advantage side Zoom session yesterday. All right. And then on top of that, the multiple updates through the day I provide people, letting people know exactly what my thoughts are on the price action, exactly what I'm looking at, whether it's XO charts, price action, different indicators that are providing us maybe, buy, sell signals, exhaustion signals, etc. Okay. So the point is tons of information. Okay. And on top of that, I want to let you guys know that the Advantage side has now opened Forex channels, commodities channels such as oil. We might start including gold at some point, but for now we're going to stick to oil. And then options channels as well. The options include equity options as well as BTC options, okay? Some of these channels are off to a slow start because, again, we're now starting a new quarter, okay? As the quarter starts ramping up, we're gonna have more trades, we're gonna have more insight, we're gonna have more analysis, okay? So again, as I've mentioned before, join the Advantage membership before we start hiking up prices, because if you're a current paying member or you join before we hike up the prices, you will be grandfathered in at the current price rate, which is $97. Again, you can go to cryptosomniac.com right here. All right, you can hit the products page right there. All right, and you can find the Advantage membership right there, okay? So you could save effectively 25, 30% depending on how much we raise the prices if you join now. And you'll have analysis to everything that you already had for crypto, and then now Forex, oil, options, etc. So let me show you guys a quick trade that we took on Forex yesterday, okay? Just so y'all know exactly how the channels work, okay? So here's the Aussie dollar trade right here. All right, so Aussie dollar, we took a short, okay? So that's effectively saying that we believe that the Australian dollar is going to get weaker against the US dollar. And as you very well know, for the past several weeks, I've been saying that I expect fully that the DXY, which is the US dollar, to start gaining strength and momentum, possibly over the next few weeks, maybe even next few months, okay? So what does that mean? That means the paired currencies with it are going to get weaker. So Aussie dollar, US dollar, I'm expecting something like this, okay? So yesterday we entered around 0.6, let me check that out, make sure. I entered around 0.61273, okay? So right now we are currently at 0.607. So we're already, up a couple of hundred pips actually, okay? So depending on the size of your trade, you've already made a good amount of money, right? Our stop is up here. My target is pretty deep way down here. And I personally think that target can be hit, all right? This target way down here. And so that's actually let me see here, exactly what we got in right there. So if I have my stop right there, all right? I'm risking about 0.7% and my target is way down here, okay? So that's a 1 to 11 R trade. So I'm risking $1 effectively to gain about $11 if my target comes through. For all I know, it might stop somewhere around here or even here. Either way, I'll understand exactly when the price is going to flip around and I'll get out. But nonetheless, even if I stop here, that's a 1 to 7 trade, right? So risking $1 for 7.7. If I stop here, that's risking $1 for 350. Regardless, I mean, it's a pretty good trade, So point is, these are the kinds of trades that we're going to be putting out. The Advantage side will get all this kind of information beforehand, exactly why we're entering the trade, the technicals behind it, stop, target, profit, entry, etc. Okay, again, not financial advice. I'm just showing you guys exactly what I'm doing, how I make money in this market to feed myself, okay? And as you guys very well know, I've been doing this for about 11 years, folks. So, I know the ins and outs to risk management. I know how to actually manage money, save money, and understand exactly how to, make money in this market profitably and consistently, okay? And, just providing valuable information and good communication in our community really helps a lot, okay? So whenever people have questions, whether they're some of the more basic ones or more advanced ones, we do our best to answer those questions, in a timely manner. All right. So I think that's something that we provide in our community that other people don't. Okay. Good content, good information with clarity. All right. And on top of that, we don't look down upon you for asking questions. Okay. In fact, I almost encourage it. All right. So anyway, getting back to the Bitcoin analysis. Okay. So here we are. If we look at the smaller time frame, what we're really effectively creating right now, what I see is, oops, what am I doing? Something like this, which is like a descending triangle. And in my experience, descending triangles are oftentimes more bearish, and they could be seen as continuation patterns, all right? So the continuation in this particular case is, we've been heading down, so this should continue down, okay? Again, it doesn't have to, but the statistics behind descending triangles are that they are continuation patterns, and more often than not, they are more bearish than bullish. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. Okay, so in terms of levels, exactly where are we? Okay, so let me pull up a more clean chart. All right, let's turn off this volume over here. Okay, so all right, if we zoom in on the 4-hour chart, number one, okay, we could not break past this particular wick. Why this particular wick? Because this was the big retest wick right here to the upside and the downside. Okay, so we use this wick as a measure of understanding where exactly the majority of the price action was taking place inside this particular candle when this consolidation happened and then it pushed up. So no closings of candles above this area. So that means that this was clearly the real resistance level. Every wick that poked past it, the sellers came in and then sold the price down. Okay, so right now the sellers are in control. Number two, this was the next big, resistance level after this first bounce right there. So that's around 63.40, right? So we're already below 63.40. What we want to see is this particular 4-hour candle close under 63.40, because that will say that number one, we got rejected by a key resistance level. Number two, we broke below a key support level. Okay, if that key support level breaks, chances are we're probably going to head down here towards the weekly open. When are we going to head down? How fast are we going to head down? Or are we going to head, up before we head down? I have no idea. Okay, but when we look at key SR levels being broken, you just have to kind of take the chart at face value and say that if a specific level was broken like this, unless it gets reclaimed like this, so for example, it does something like this, test this as support, and then starts moving up, unless that the price action does something like that, we can only assume that the next big level that it's going to gravitate towards is the one that it found the previous bottom at, okay, so the previous support. So it's that one right there, and that's the weekly open around 58.69. Okay, that's just how technicals work. Again, I don't make the rules, that's just how the rules work and how the game works. So I have to assume that if this is broken, the next higher probability area is probably down here. Okay, so in this particular instance, what you can do as a trader, all right, is you can look at this area and say, okay, does this turn around and start testing this area as resistance? Once it does, you could potentially open a short opportunity. And as it starts heading down, you can move your stop here, or you can even have it a little bit tighter over here. Okay, those are your opportunities for a short position. If you really believe that we are going to push up from here, I mean, this is a fantastic buying opportunity for you anyway, because what we're really doing is we're maybe pushing up just below this support area, and we might pop back up. I personally don't believe so, but if you do, that's your option. That's your prerogative, right? All right. Going off the daily time frame. All right. So let's do this. Let's turn off these markers. All right. Okay. So daily time frame. I've already explained why I believed 2 days ago to my Advantage members why I'm going to re-enter a short trade in this daily candle right here. Even though everyone saw this as a bullish and engulfing, I did not. Okay. Reason being, look at this blue box compared to this blue box. Do you see any similarities? Because I do, right? Number one, resistance right there, breaks up, uses that same line as support right there, breaks down, tests that same area as resistance right there, breaks down. All right. Same thing would happen right here, right? Just in a different way. Resistance right there, breaks up, tests that area of support right there, breaks down, pushes back up as a bullish engulfing, but only smashed into the daily SR level of the 64.10 marker, as you can see, right? And then it started reversing back down, okay? Now it's not that, I was so confident that I was trying to predict the future and saying that this has to be, a fake bullish engulfing. I still waited, I still had my risk managed, and I also did not go too heavy on my position because I waited for this daily candle close just yesterday, and I said, okay, well, this is one of your evening star, maybe abandoned baby patterns. And once we started breaking down yesterday, I was fairly confident that now we're going to head down lower. Okay, so that's effectively what happened. Is we're now heading down lower. One could make the argument that this could be a potential left shoulder, head, maybe a right shoulder developing. So your head and shoulders pattern, from here, right there. And if we take that as a measured move from there to the neckline, right? Let's just say, again, this is just a rough drawing. Next target should be about $4,600 or so, just based on the head and shoulders pattern, okay? Obviously, there are other levels in the middle of, in between 6,300 and 4,600. You can use these fibs, right? 382 fib, you could take some profit there around 56.75, 50 fib or this golden pocket area around 4847. Okay, but I still do believe having a short bias has been, in my opinion, the better side of the trade. You may have missed, this kind of movement up here, but for the most part, if you're looking at the world at large, if you're looking at, let's just say the macro markets, right? You can see US stock futures already selling off, right? Yesterday, Trump held a press conference about the dire warning that almost maybe 200,000, 240,000 Americans could die. This definitely panics the markets, okay? Whether the markets are expecting it or not, it doesn't matter. It definitely panics people across the board. It's a significant event that we haven't faced because, again, we're not in a war that we're expecting, right? Where lives are supposed to stack up. This is, an unprecedented I guess, not so much understood what the future effects are, the lives at stake, the things that could happen in the economy, whether it's, even now as a virus is going through the economy or the after effects of, shutting down or slowing down the economy. All in all, I really don't think that managers across the board, fund managers or anyone, is really prepared for something like this. And so I told my Advantage members again that I personally believe that the S&P 500, I still believe that is going to break down further. Okay, and Faisal in our Advantage side, again, if you're not familiar with his live updates, read them, guys. They're really awesome. If you're not familiar with these updates, he gives you a great, unique insight on what's happening in the markets. He even gives you, key areas in particular sectors to look out for. So you understand exactly, what key resistance levels or support levels should hold or should break. And based on that, you can either position yourself in the stock market, and knowing that, crypto has been moving with the stock market or S&P 500, you can position yourself in crypto by reading those updates too. If anything, you should also just read them just to educate yourself and become more knowledgeable about what's happening in the stock market anyway, because Faisal is someone who's been doing this for a while. Okay, he knows exactly what to look out for. He knows exactly what levels to pay attention to, what fundamentals to pay attention to, and so he will not lead you wrong. All right, he'll tell you exactly what you should be paying attention to. Okay, again, we're not here to provide financial advice. We're just doing our best to show you how we trade in the markets and how we make money profitably and consistently. Okay, also just helping see other people's insights in the market, right? Especially as a lot of people are still saying that Bitcoin is gonna go to 10,000 or 20,000 or whatever by halving, or as halving comes up, Bitcoin has to go up. It's some ridiculous stuff because clearly these people are too delusional to see what's happening in the world around them. They're too delusional to see what's happening in the stock market, which is, it's basically, this right here is a dead cat bounce, which should be reversing back down at some point. And if that does happen, more than likely Bitcoin is going to start collapsing as well. Okay, remember, Bitcoin is a high risk speculative asset. It will collapse much harder, much faster than the stock market. No one gives a shit about Bitcoin when it comes to people wanting cash. Okay, no one sees Bitcoin as a safe haven at present moment. Okay, that's just reality. Someday it might happen, but that day isn't today. Okay, all right. Going back to technicals, again, smaller candles right here. So it looks like we are approaching this level with caution, which is the 6,250, 6,230 area. I don't know if I like this particularly. I usually like to see my candles sort of being more impulsive like this to smash through certain levels. But who knows, maybe the next 4-hour candle we might, actually break through. Because remember, on this way up, I think all we're really doing is we're basically, what we're basically doing is creating stops right under us, okay? Just like that and just like that, okay? Why do we do that? Well, one reason we do that is because, one second, let me change that to a check mark because this one did get broken. These X's right here all denote that there are long stops sitting under, meaning that, you know, if someone was long, you know, all the way through this uptrend, they either have their stop here or they have their stop here, okay? Or they may have, you know, half a position, they want to stop out here and another half over here. Same thing with all these X's. Every single low that you see has stops residing under, because if someone got into this uptrend right here, they may have their stop down here or down here. If someone bought the bottom down here, they may have their stop somewhere down here. So the reason we put these X's in is because if price breaks down, these X's, these stops, are what accelerate price down, okay? Because if you hit the stop right here, you've absorbed a lot of liquidity. Chances are, you know, you could push up from here, but if you don't, what you've effectively done is you've forced, you know, some long positions to be closed out, okay? And so when long positions get closed out, right, you're effectively buying the other side, which is, you know, buying a short on the other side to close out your long. And so that means that, you know, you're effectively forcing price down as you get closed out or liquidated, and all these X's get hit almost like a domino, okay? So that's why sometimes you see price cascading down through these levels very fast. Let me give you an example, okay? So if you look over here, all right, same thing right here. Let me give you two examples actually. All right, number one, if you look at, you know, all these right here, right, you can do the same thing, X right there, X right there, X right there, and X right there. Once price started breaking down, look how fast it accelerated, right? See, this is the reason why all these stops, as you line them up, it helps price break down and move faster, okay? Same thing right here, going all the way up, right? You have stops right there, stops right there, stops all the way over there. And as price starts breaking down, boom, 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 boom. You can see it just accelerates down really fast, okay? Remember that price is trying to look for liquidity to also sell into. That's what shorts are doing in this particular instance, right? So when price starts breaking down, it's gonna start taking out these X's and it's gonna move pretty fast down. It's not gonna be in one swift candle, but it'll be faster than usual, okay? I don't quite know exactly when that's going to happen, but I would figure that, you know, as the pre-markets are shaping up right now, this might be a good week, you know, the remainder of the week, I guess, you know, to start selling off on the market. You can see the global markets as well. Asian markets sold off a decent amount, 3.9%, 2.19%, 1.6%, negative 4.5%, etc. Okay. So, you know, we could definitely start seeing crypto and BTC specifically start to shape up for a sell-off. Last but not least, I also mentioned that in terms of equities, if you guys are familiar with how funds work, and you know, usually institutions and managers will try to shift their balance or hedge their positions if the market is not doing too well into different markets that may have less risk and more security. So in this particular instance, the quarter one that just ended yesterday, right? Fund managers across the board will probably have finished their rebalancing, meaning that I'd say, you know, the hedge funds and the managers probably hedged into bonds, right? Because remember, that's probably the safest bet right now, maybe even gold. And definitely didn't pick up Bitcoin, that I can guarantee you, right? Because they're looking for more liquid markets, okay? And they're also looking for lesser risk in a recessionary environment. So that means bonds and gold, you know, definitely, okay? So, you know, the way I see it particularly, you know, the dead cat bounce after the oversold condition right here gave some people, especially in the, you know, the professionals and the institutions, gave them time to get out of some of their positions and start hedging into bonds and gold potentially, as people got excited that this was the bounce that's going to take us higher, right? I'm sure you can find, you know, some people on Twitter, CNBC, Bloomberg telling you, even Wall Street Journal, right? They told you that, you know, this might have been the shortest bear market ever, and you know, now we might be starting a new bull market. You know, what kind of bull crap is that? Like, you don't drop 30% in the middle of a pandemic and just start recovering out of this just like that, right? We just had 3.2 million jobless claims last week. Every single week we're having, 1 to 2 million, keep adding up in terms of jobless claims. Corporate bond debt and debt is overall going higher. The U.S. government is basically, bailing out everyone, giving free money to people. In what way do you think the stock market should just keep going higher? I mean, on what basis, right? Obviously, supply chains across the board are seizing. The U.S. economy and the world economy at large is pretty much at a halt. So if the stock market is looking at companies to show them that they've got, maybe potential higher, I guess, optimism of earnings potential, in the next quarter, next few months, I don't understand how, especially when the economy is a complete slowdown where we're essentially in shutdown and quarantine environments. So I don't see why the stock market should go higher. Again, if my bias is wrong, we'll push up, even further, and I'll get out of my put positions, right? I'll let my Advantage community members know that I'm in a couple of put options for the S&P 500, the SPY ETF, and I'm also shorting a couple of different, ETFs and indices. Okay, well, I guess indices and their ETFs. Okay. So that's kind of where I am. I personally think this is a dead cat bounce. I think we may start heading down again, and then we'll see, what happens after that. Who knows? For all I know, we might create a range like this for maybe a couple of months or something and then start breaking down. I don't know, but for the most part, what I'm a bit more certain of is we should be pulling back down, whether it's at this level or this level, but we should be pulling back down. All right. But again, I'll manage my risk. I'll let my Advantage members know exactly what I'm seeing. And so yeah, with that being said, I hope y'all come join to gauge and understand this kind of information. If you have any questions, shoot them in the comments. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. And again, folks, come join Cryptosomniac Advantage. Now you have more of a reason to join because now we have more asset classes that we trade for the same price, if you join now, okay? Faisal and I are here for you to provide you as much information as possible. And until then, y'all take care, and I'll catch up with you soon. All right, cheers.